Hey there, practice builders. How are you today? I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm super excited to be here with you. I have some juicy stuff to share with you, actually, a couple of exciting things. So let's go ahead and jump in, shall we? All right. So, in today's live training, you are going to learn the 5 key obstacles that every successful entrepreneur must overcome, and specifically what every successful online entrepreneur must be able to overcome in order to ensure their ongoing success. All right. So I think this is a pretty timely and relevant topic, especially based on all the questions and comments that I'm getting these days. So I also want to mention that I've got a very special opportunity that I'm going to be sharing with you to get additional, like a really deep dive 4-day live training that's completely complimentary to you. It's a 4-day live training series on literally how to create a kick-ass sales funnel to help you to fill your online courses or group programs. So you're going to want to stay tuned for more information on that. Definitely not going to want to miss that series. It comes with a very in-depth workbook, and all kinds of strategies that I myself have integrated into my own business to generate $80,000 launches, right? So you're definitely going to want to tune in for that. And if you're ready to get a sneak peek on what I'm talking about, you can go ahead and go to leslibitel.com/fill your online course. All right. So anyway, good to see you all today. Really happy to have you here with me. In case you guys, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Lesli Bitel, and I'm a business coach, a business strategist for integrative functional health professionals. And so what I do in my work is I help health professionals, specifically in private practice, to overcome, all that confusion, that sense of overwhelm with the business side of building a thriving and profitable online private practice. And essentially, the end result is you being able to do the work that you love and make a great living doing it. So, all right. So today, again, we are talking about the 5 obstacles that every successful online entrepreneur must overcome in their businesses to ensure ongoing success. And especially, this is so very important in this day and age with COVID and the lockdown and literally everything being moved online. So, all of your marketing, as I'm sure you already know, needs to be done in an online format. So I'm getting lots of questions about how to go about doing this effectively and how to streamline it, how to make it so it doesn't have to, literally overtake your entire life, right? With that overwhelm. So a lot of people are reaching out, and I'm getting lots of questions specifically around not only how can I do this online, but how can I generate more leads, right? How come my phone isn't ringing like it was before COVID? What do I need to do? I feel like I'm kind of having to start over, start from scratch. And then how can I turn these inquiries once I start to get them going again? How can I turn those into actual paying clients or customers? So that is what we're going to cover today. We're going to start by talking about, again, those 5 obstacles that you need to overcome in the online space. And of course, you know me, I'm going to also share what you need to do instead to overcome those obstacles. So I'd love to hear from you. Give me a yes in the comments if you can relate, if this is a relevant topic to you. And this goes for anyone who is joining me live, as well as those of you who are listening to the recording. I'd love to hear from you. Give me a thumbs up or a yes if this is a relevant topic for you. So to jump into the content then, so much, I will just say in advance, so much of this really has to do with your own mindset. And of course, being able to commit to a really powerful online visibility strategy. And admittedly, it can be very overwhelming because there's so many strategies out there. There's so much free content available. It honestly, and I believe me, because I was there, I get how overwhelming it can be when you're trying to piecemeal all of this yourself. So know that I really do get it. I've been there myself. And so that's why I'm really dedicated to helping my colleagues be able to maneuver through this and also, maintain a semblance of a life, right? Because that's really what it's all about. All right, so that being said, let's jump into that first obstacle that is super common. Oh my gosh, like I think this is the number one obstacle out of all of them. And that is fear of being seen, fear of putting yourself out there, right? In an online world. It makes you feel very vulnerable, right? That is so very common. I mean, and the fears revolve around a lot of different things. I would say in general, it's that fear of judgment, right? If we put ourselves out there, we're putting ourselves in a vulnerable position that, in at least our own minds may warrant judgment from others. So we may also have a little struggle with our own inner critic who may be telling us, who do you think you are to be doing this, right? You're not good enough, you don't know enough, all that kind of self talk that can really sabotage your efforts, especially as you move into this online space. What will people think? Will they think I'm just in it for the money? So here's the deal. First of all, know that it's very common to have those thoughts. And what I have found over the years, and again, coaching hundreds of healthcare practitioners over the last 7 years, is the most important way to navigate through this, I think, is by having these thoughts like fear of judgment, all these issues popping up into our head that are basically holding us back. It's really kind of taking a self-centered viewpoint, right? So what I'm going to suggest instead of thinking about yourself and kind of like me, how am I going to come across? Oh my gosh, I'm afraid of judgment, all these things. What I'm going to suggest is to get out of your own head, get out of thinking about me, okay? And instead, what I'm going to recommend, and I know it can be, easier said than done, but it really is possible if you can catch yourself kind of in the midst of this, kind of self-sabotaging thought process. If you can catch yourself, push that pause button and just kind of reframe. So instead of thinking about me, what I'm going to recommend is that you get that out of your head and instead get into thinking about serving. It's all about service, right? It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about serving our clients. And so when you can again, get out of your head, get out of that thinking about me so much, and instead ask yourself, how can I serve? It really, really helps, guys. It really puts you in a different mindset and it allows you space to really, go back to the passion of why you decided to do this work in the first place. So give that a try. Move kind of like, move that head, that thinking process away from me, and oh my gosh, people are looking at me. And instead, move into how can I serve? And I can literally guarantee that that's going to make a huge difference for you. So give that a try. So fear of being seen is definitely a big one. Hopefully, kind of resetting the way you're approaching it in your own head is going to help you move through that. Okay, so let's go to the second one. The second big obstacle that is really important to overcome in this online space is fear of technology, right? So that's a really common one too, and one that can really trip us up if we're not really cognizant of it. The thing is here, guys, is there are so many videos on YouTube about how to navigate, really any platform that you would want to use. Let's say, for example, that you want to do a Facebook Live, which would be awesome, but you're afraid, like, oh my gosh, what if, I don't know how to use the technology? Or, I want to do like a Zoom webinar, but oh no, what if something goes wrong? So my recommendation is pretty straightforward here. Watch a tutorial, right? Figure out what it is you want to do. and then go on YouTube. There's all kinds of programs and educational videos that can help you navigate through the technology. So please don't let the technology hold you back from getting out and increasing your visibility, because yeah, that's not going to work out so well. And also remember that you don't have to be a tech genius. You really don't. These these technologies are really built for the average person. And I would say, with very few exceptions, they're extremely user friendly. So that's my recommendation there. Just know that, just pick your technology and try to get a little extra training on YouTube and just try to move through that. Don't let technology hold you back, because it really is pretty straightforward. And I think once you try that, once you actually put yourself out there and try it, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And just a little tip on that, like if, for example, let's just say hypothetically, you're wanting to do a Facebook Live and you're terrified that, the technology is going to overwhelm you. One thing you could do, and I've actually done this myself, just you could test the technology in advance, right? So you can actually create like a fake Facebook group, and you can just do kind of a little dry run in that fake Facebook group, right? And I think that could be a really good strategy to help you navigate through the fears of technology. And just reach out and get help as needed, but don't let that technology hold you back. All right, so let's go into number 3, the third big obstacle that can hold you back. And that is thinking that you have to do this really deep and intense kind of post, or, like this super in-depth training every single time you go online. I hear that a lot. And I am here to tell you, it could not be further from the truth. So as practitioners, we've got like all kinds of great clinical training. We're kind of used to, I guess, a more clinical style of writing. And the thing I really want to drive home here, guys, is that that is not how you want to come across, in your online marketing. You're not writing a dissertation. You are not writing a research paper with all kinds of footnotes. Guys, you really do not need to research. Okay. This is all stuff that you already know, and it's already in your head. You just have to extract it, right? So you shouldn't have to research any of this. Basically, just think of one tip that might be helpful for your target audience. Start there. And I will say this too, people nowadays, they don't really have time to read super long, in-depth articles or blog posts. They want something that's really user-friendly, like 5 strategies to achieve X, or, my 3 best tips to achieve Y. Stuff like that, really usable things. And they don't really want to know the whole entire, like the science behind everything. They just want to know what to do to solve their problem, right? So you really want it to be more, I guess, top level, user friendly, and just know that this is all stuff that's in your head already. You really do not need to be researching. I hear that all the time. It took me 3 hours to write a blog post, because or it took me longer. Like I even hear longer than 3 hours, because I felt like I had to research everything. No, don't do that. It's unnecessary. Okay. Just write about things that you already know. It's not a dissertation. And the other thing I will say here is you are communicating with your potential client, your target market, your avatar, not your professional peers, right? So a lot of times people will say, well, what if I'm criticized or judged, going back to number 1, by my peers? And you know what? So be it. Those are not your that's not your target market, right? So you really want to write stuff, and, your videos, everything needs to be really targeted in the language that your target market uses. Otherwise, they're going to be like, oh, I don't want to read this. So, all right. So that is number 3, thinking that you have to do this dissertation, every time you write a blog or go online. Not true at all. All right. So let's go to number 4. Number 4 is not knowing what to write about or what to talk about. So basically, kind of feeling under pressure every single time it's time to write a newsletter or a blog or go live. And and what ends up happening there is it just takes so much longer when you start with a blank slate every single time, you go to sit down and write a blog post or do a video, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to talk about. And it really kind of takes on a life of its own. Again, it's a really common way to honestly get in your own way and kind of sabotage your efforts to get your content online. So here's the deal. I so first of all, educating your audience is really my favorite sales technique, and I hope it becomes yours as well. So, in terms of how you can make this process more streamlined, so that you don't have like that, like deer in the headlights every time you go and produce some content. What I want you to do is actually going to be, I think, really helpful. What I'd love for you to do is sit down, give yourself, set a timer, give yourself 15 minutes. I promise you, you're going to come up with a lot of different topics. Set that timer for 15 minutes. Sit down at your computer, or get a piece of paper and a pen, right? Old fashioned way, and brainstorm a list of topics, right? Keep an ongoing list of topics. Actually, I would keep a little notebook with you for whenever an idea comes to your mind. That way you can capture it. And the way I recommend, I really like to put my ideas in two categories. It really helps me to actually come up with some good ideas. The first bucket would be questions that I'm constantly getting from my clients, right? So, what are some really common questions that you hear all the time from your target market or for your clients? So, sit down and just brain dump, maybe a list of 10 things even, right? And then the second bucket, it would be a list of things, questions that you could answer that you're constantly finding yourself educating on, right? Like questions that maybe your target market or your clients, maybe they don't think to ask, but they actually need to know. So that would be your second category of topics. So I can literally promise you, if you give yourself 15, 20 minutes max and just think about those two buckets, you're going to come up with more than enough content, for several weeks. Actually, you're going to be good to go for a long time. All right. So hopefully that is going to be helpful. And, again, remember, educating your audience is really important, especially, frankly, I think even before you have that sales conversation or discovery call, you want to think about, what do they need to know before they work with me? That's another thing that you can ask yourself. What are some things that are going to be really helpful for them to know before we dig deep and start to work together? All right, so let's move on to number 5. So number 5 is just fear of committing, right? Being fearful that, oh my gosh, if I start a blog or if I start doing, Instagram, stories or whatever, right? Whatever it is, I'm going to have to do it all the time. And so here's the thing on that. So, all right. So if this is really holding you back, and I believe it is for some people, then what I would say to you is just get started and don't worry about, the subsequent commitment. Okay? Just get started, and then a little bit later, once you feel like you're kind of in the groove, then you can make a commitment. Okay, I'm committing to, sending a newsletter or, somehow communicating with my email list every other week. And I'm going to send something out every Thursday, preferably Thursday morning or whatever day and time you pick. And then, commit eventually, but just get started would be my first tip. Because if you're really getting kind of hung up on, oh, once I start, I'm going to, have to do it all the time, that's not a good place to be. So I would just say get started and worry about committing later. Now, for some of you, I would say it may work better for you just to think about, what can you commit to? What's reasonable? And just start there, right? So I think either way could work, just kind of depending on your personality. But essentially, I would say eventually you're going to want to look at what's reasonable and, what can you commit to? Because ultimately, we do want to develop that sense of know, like, and trust. And a big part of trust is actually showing up when you say you're going to show up, right? Honestly, even when you don't feel like it. So I think though, if you've got a list of topics that you feel really passionate about talking about and educating people on, my hunch and like all these other things, and if you feel good about not having to sit down and write a dissertation every time you're producing content or creating content, I think that fear of committing is probably going to be less, right? Because you're going to sit down and you're going to go, okay, I don't have to spend 3 hours at this. I can crank something out in 20 minutes that's going to be really relevant and important for my target market, right? So I think a lot of these are somewhat interwoven. But the bottom line, again, if you're really struggling with this, just get started and let's just see where that takes you. If you're a little bit more advanced and you've kind of dabbled, then I would say, look at your calendar, look at your schedule, and just commit to what you think you can do on a regular and consistent basis. All right. So, all right. So let's go ahead and just do a quick summary. And then I'm going to share with you that special opportunity that I mentioned. So, in summary, the five big obstacles that I hear about and I see all the time that are really getting in the way of creating a powerful online presence for, again, online entrepreneurs, which, let's be honest, that's pretty much what we all are now, given COVID. So the first one that we talked about was fear of being seen. And remember, a lot of that has to do with kind of getting out of our own head. And instead of kind of approaching it from, oh, it's all about me, turn that around and think about how you can serve. It's all about serving. And I think that's going to be really helpful. Number two is fear of technology. I think that one's a pretty easy one to overcome too, especially, if you're clear on exactly what it is that you want to do. And if you've already kind of decided the technology that you want to use, there's lots of online training that can help you through that. And don't forget about the idea that I shared with creating a kind of a fake Facebook group so that you can do some little demos in there and no one's going to see it but you, right? So that should be helpful too. All right, number three is really an important one, and that is thinking that you have to do this big, long, intense training or piece of content every time you sit down to create something. And just remember, it is so not true. In fact, the opposite is true. People just aren't going to read it. They don't want to read a dissertation, and they certainly don't want like all the clinical background. They just want to know, what can I do to solve my problem? Maybe a little bit about why this is important, but it really needs to be in their language, not this super clinical kind of language. All right. So this is all stuff you guys know. To create content, seriously, you do not need to do any research. You already know this stuff. All right. All right. So number four is just not knowing what to write about. And remember, I gave you a couple of ideas on how to brainstorm a whole bunch of topics that you can draw from. Remember, bucket one is making a list of different topics that you can draw from, like things that your clients are always asking you, right? That makes for great blog posts, great videos, great content. And the second bucket would be things that they don't really think to ask, but they need to know. All right. So hopefully that helps you. And then the fifth obstacle is fear of committing. So I shared some tips on how to go about that. If you're just starting out, I would say don't worry about the big commitment. Just kind of dabble, get yourself started. If you're a little further along, then look at it realistically and just say, how can I show up consistently? What would be reasonable? And hopefully that will help you to move forward, because remember, ultimately, this is about creating trust with our audiences. So and part of trust is actually showing up. All right. So, all right. So now I just want to share a little bit about my upcoming special training. And in this training, I'm going to be sharing specific steps that are designed. It's a 4-day live complimentary training series. And I'm going to be sharing lots of very specific steps and strategies designed to take a client or a prospect from being introduced to your work through developing deeper relationships with you through your free reports, your webinars, and your other resources. I'm going to basically teach you how to create a sales funnel, all the way from creating know, like, and trust, and sharing free content with them, to really position yourself as an authority and an expert, all the way to seeing them invest in your new online course. So that is the end result that I'm going to teach you how to navigate. Lots of great opportunity right now with online courses. Super excited about this live training. And this is going to take place the end of May. So it's May 26th through the 29th. And I don't think you want to miss out on this, right? It comes with an amazing detailed workbook, all kinds of support. You're going to want to go to leslibitel.com/fill your online course to learn more. Let's see. Yes. And let's see. Okay, I'm going to actually, let's see. Oh, okay. All right. So I've got it scrolling on the screen right here. Fill your online course, leslibitel.com/fill your online course. So go ahead and jump on that URL and grab your seat. And I hope to see you there. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to be sharing all kinds of strategies and tips that I integrate into my own launches, which, I feel like I've cracked the code over the last 7 years for sure. And I'm really excited to share this knowledge with you and these specific strategies so that you can really, the end result is being able to create another whole revenue stream, right? And the idea is to be able to leverage your time more effectively. So of course, the one-on-one work, you may want to continue to do one-on-one work. I know I love my one-on-one work in my business, but I also love the model where I'm serving many people at one time. So that's more of a leveraged model where you're going from one-to-one to one-to-many. And so that's what I'm going to be teaching you in this upcoming training. All right. So make sure you go grab your spot, and I will look forward to seeing you next week. Same place, same time. Bye for now, everybody.